Dr. Novishi Akoto, originally from Ghana, commenced her education at Rich Church. Following her early days, she extensively traveled with her family, completing a significant portion of her schooling in Kenya and Zimbabwe. Transitioning to London for sixth form, she remained in the UK for approximately 23 years until May 2013. In 1998, she earned her dentistry qualification from Bristol University and pursued diverse postgraduate training, gaining extensive experience in various areas such as treating cleft patients, managing facial injuries from road traffic accidents, handling head and neck cancers, and working with patients with learning difficulties. Her expertise also extends to dental phobia and aesthetic dentistry. Currently serving as the clinical lead at Platinum Orthodontic and Dental Services, Dr. Novishi Akoto collaborates with international and local specialists. The facility is dedicated to achieving and maintaining dental goals, emphasizing customer care, patient care, and prevention. Acknowledging the growing interest in cosmetic dentistry, she notes the increase in demand for procedures such as tooth whitening, invincible teeth alignment methods, Botox, and dermal fillers to enhance facial aesthetics. This diversity keeps her workdays dynamic in the ultra-modern dental facility that prioritizes comprehensive care. Dr. Akoto believes in the significance of how clients feel during dental procedures, stating that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. This philosophy is encapsulated in the practice motto, "Every patient counts, getting it right first time and every time."
To us, every patient does truly count, and we are committed to getting it right first time and every time.
Welcome back here on the show. So that's my guest for you, Dr. Novishi Akoto is here with me in the studio, and she's got the brightest smile. Looking at your videos and your pictures, there's never one of them that you didn't show your beautiful 32.
And thank you so much. I like to advertise what I'm actually doing.
Oh boy, you did exactly that
Thank
in those
you.
videos. But I mean, how do you feel walking out there and people seeing the smile you give back to them, and whether you're, especially your clients, your patients, and they're like, I want to be smiling like her. I want to show my 32 like her. How does that make you feel?
You know, I think that smiling is such an important part of us. It really is how we communicate, you know, intrinsically without using words. And a smile can let you know how confident somebody feels, whether somebody is a bit wary or whether somebody is even hiding something.
Yeah.
So for us, we're working with our patients to really enhance and build that confidence in their smile. And once we get there, then we switch straight away to maintenance to make sure that what we have achieved is going to outlive them. So this isn't a one-off thing. We are building something together with you. And then once it's built, we go into maintenance mode to make sure that it's going to stay the same. So I'm hoping to be 80 and still smiling like this.
You've worked so hard at it. I'm sure that would definitely be the case eventually when you hit 80. But your journey through this has been quite an exciting one. From moving from one country to the other by virtue of your parents, you know, living at different places to discovering what you have become now. Let's walk us into it. Did you always want to tell who you are now?
No, I have to say, I had a very, very eclectic growing up. You had to get used to being resilient. You had to get used to, I always say that one of the things was to take the best out of every place and every situation and learn to leave the rest. And I think that in terms of how you actually need to be in business, that's something that is really, really following me through. So, having been born and started growing up in Ghana, I then moved around Africa quite a bit, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Nigeria. And I guess that's where my Pan-Africanism really came to light, because I love everything African. I really, really do. Then I ended up in the UK for sixth form and really, really stayed there for a long time. But then again, I always had this mindset that you have to make the most of every opportunity. Yeah. And again, that comes into the forefront in business. So once I did my dental degree, even before I was officially allowed to do the equivalent of the master's, I'd already done all the exams. And then they were like, you cannot actually be awarded this until you've been qualified for like 2 years. So that I had to sit and wait around for the 2 years before I could use that. Wow. And then it was about getting a plethora of experiences. So I have a master's in medical education. So teaching is something that comes very, very naturally to me. I also ventured into health service research. So looking at the actual efficacy of what works. Yeah. And that has been really fundamental in running my actual business. Yeah. So, does an appointment system work better than allowing clients to just walk in and out? Mm-hmm. How many patients do you actually need to have on your books before you decide that you need to open another chair and another surgery? So looking at all of those factors were truly, truly important. I also naturally believe that you have to get to the top of the tree. Mm. So you have to aim for the sky. Yeah. Then you have to accept that you may hit the top of the tree. But you have to always be trying to get there. Mm. So sometimes I feel sorry for my amazing staff, and they are amazing because we have this culture of relentless pursuit of excellence. The minute we achieve something, and this is not a good thing, sometimes we don't even stop to celebrate it. We're like, okay, we've got there. Next. But I think that also keeps us going. Mm. But in terms of business, and when I think about business, there's one thing that always comes through, which is that you would think that at some stage you stop being scared. Mm-hmm. But the fear is always there. Yeah. And I'm currently looking at branching into the region and other projects. And I'm like, the fear is still there. And then you get to realize that in business, for me and for loads of women, the fear is always there. You have to accept that that's part of it. Mm. Obviously, do your background, do your research, do your business plans. Mm. Know what success actually looks like, what success actually feels like in terms of numbers. So it's not something that can be just subjective, because especially when you're going through an emotional roller coaster, it may not be true, And so it has to be objective. You have to say, success is when we see X amount of patients a day and we don't get any complaints. Yeah. So, because you may have one bad patient and it could throw, or client, and it could throw everything. You have to go back and say, okay, we still saw 70 patients. Yeah. And there was the one complaint, let us learn from it. So having those objectives, really, really help to make sure that you are streamlining everything, that you are listening to the client, but also that you are applying business principles.
Great. It makes a lot of sense, having all these accolades, certificates, and all of that. Then it means that you could do a lot of research into where you want to venture into. Mm-hmm. In your case, at what point did you decide that I'm going to venture into dentistry? Like, this is where I want to put my focus on. Aside every other thing, I want to be sure that this is the forefront.
Okay, so for me, dentistry, I speak to and try and encourage a lot of young ladies, and they know that they want to do dentistry. That wasn't the case for me. Okay. I have to admit, I was just as interested in doing English and drama and being a thespian on the stage, but then practicality came in. Mm. The truth of the matter is that I wanted a career that had a profession. I wanted to make sure that I could always be employed. Yeah. And I also wanted to make sure that I could attain a certain standard of living. And it's really, really interesting because I wasn't sure what country I was going to live in. And the interesting thing is that there are parts of the world where doctors do not actually do that well. But dentistry, because a lot of the time you're looking at the business side of it as well, you do have most dentists attain a certain status within, society.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a very, very pragmatic decision. It was writing out what I wanted to achieve when, and then picking the career that's actually matched with it. But the interesting thing is that dentistry is an amazing career for women. And now it's really touted as the career pathway that women should really be considering. Because if you're a practice owner, you can decide your own working times. You can say, okay, during my child rearing years, I'm going to start at 10 and finish at 4. And so it allows you to actually mold things. And it allows you to grow at the rate at which you feel comfortable with.
The big question will be then, how did you begin? Sometimes we feel that we have so much to begin. At times you feel like you have nothing at all to begin. I don't know how your story is, but did you start with 5 Ghana cedis?
Okay, so I had been working for a while, but not that much because I spent so much time studying. So, my family always called me book long because I was always doing another degree. And it was good because by the time I was 32, I actually had 7 degrees.
My goodness.
Yeah, but it meant
7?
that, yeah, I had 7. And then it meant that instead of, working and making money, I'd always been doing the next course. So at the time I actually started, I didn't have that much. To be honest, when I look back, I had less than 5% of the amount I ended up spending. So I do have to say, and this I will have to acknowledge, EcoBank gave me a loan.
Okay.
And again, this is about naivety. I didn't even realize that banks did not give startups. So I had this presentation and I went to every bank, all of the banks in Ghana. And I was like,
I want this.
yes, and I have this idea and it's going to work.
Yeah.
So, so I started with very, very little. Naivety really helps, especially because we decided to do a purpose build. The cost, everybody knows about building in Ghana. The cost just mounted and mounted.
Yeah.
But I think that what was really, really good is that I went into it with a mindset of, I'm not going to fail. I knew that the need was there for what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring international best standards to Ghana.
Great.
I wanted it to get to the stage where if somebody says that they are traveling to go and get dentistry, it's because they want to. But they have
And not
the
because
option.
we can do it.
Exactly, that we can do everything here and we're at the forefront. And it was actually really interesting with COVID because the hospital that I was working previously in the UK were calling us for advice.
I see.
About what to do, and we had all of the gadgets before they did. And I was like, we
Good
do
one.
it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so, it was about having the belief, first of all, in yourself, okay? Then realizing that you can't have everything, but also realizing that at some stage you need to start. So I was so delayed and I was trying to make the money and mentors, I'll come to mentors later. But I remember a mentor calling me and saying, Novishi, if you think you're going to make all the money for this project before you get on the plane, you are never going to get on the plane. Let us set a date, come on the plane. And he said, if you are starving, I promise you, I'll give you Gary Sokus once a day. But get on the plane and let's start making this a reality.
Yeah.
So again, it is that thing about jumping and that thing about belief. But I think that's, again, coming back to business, it's really, really important. And I have to be honest, I did it initially by a slow transition.
Okay.
And then transitioning fully. But I think that where people sometimes go wrong is not paying themselves. Right from the outset, to know whether your business is successful, you have to pay yourself as though you had somebody else doing the work. Because otherwise, it really, really skews things. I have to admit that having a loan sharpened my senses.
I was going to get to that. Were you not even scared in the first place, going around and saying you were looking for loans, loaning very well that there could be the other side of this business. If you don't succeed, then what? You've got loans on your head.
I didn't believe that I wouldn't succeed. So there was that undeniable, and as I said, now that I'm going out more, I'm suffering from analysis paralysis. Whereas before it was just that, no, it has to succeed. So you had the loan, and the loan crystallized everything for you. And I have to admit that it had a real impact on shifting me from being just a clinician to thinking about the business of dentistry.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the 6 months moratorium, I needed to be able to pay the loan off. So you had to now start thinking about the business of it, start looking at profit margins, start looking at how feasible all of this really, really was. So I think that taking on some financial risk really, really did help to actually propel the project and the business.
Staying in these various places that you left in, from Tanzania, Kenya, and all of that, I mean, thanks to your parents who had to push you through that, process, because they had to be going around and all that. How has that been able to shape your way of thinking about what people need and how to give them what they need?
So I think that when it comes to need, everyone wants to feel heard, especially in healthcare, And one of the things was about languages, because imagine being a Black child in Kenya.
Yeah.
A lot of people assume that you are Kenyan and start speaking to you in Swahili, and then they realize that you don't actually understand. So it became about communication and reading body language and being able to really take yourself out of it. So I'm always very, very conscious that when I'm in my work environment and I'm talking to a client, it's got nothing to do with me. It's 100% about the client. I may share something about myself to make it easier for them to share more, but it's always about the client. So communication became a really strong focus for me. The other thing that became a real focus was looking at global need. So whilst I'm setting this up in Ghana, this needs to be transferable to any place in the world. The standards have to be global. But also, when you're looking at individuals, our actual needs are quite simple. And independent is that thing about respect. Do I feel respected? Was I listened to? Was I given enough information to make the right choice for me? And was I educated about the things that I didn't have knowledge about? So for me, moving around and the experiences really, really honed that in. From a business perspective, Africa is the place to be. Let me repeat, Africa is the place to be. The potential of Africa, the rate at which we can actually grow. The challenges are there, but it's the challenges which bring about the opportunities. And so it's trying to merge that together. If somebody says to me, but in Ghana, I smile, because then I think, I remember this same situation in another country. So it made me realize that nothing was truly unique other than human beings and how they deserve to be treated, and that you needed to always think outside of the country that you're in. Your mindset has to be international.
Let's now narrow down into these amazing human beings you have here. So if someone says that I want to take care of my teeth, I want my teeth to look good, what is the person talking about?
So that's a really interesting question. And I always say that it's like a building with 3 floors. The first floor is prevention. And when we're talking about prevention, what we're saying is that you need to take care of your teeth. We've heard to death 2 minutes twice a day using a fluoride toothpaste. 2 minutes twice a day using a fluoride toothpaste. But what I find really, really interesting is that the majority of our country still uses a standard toothbrush. And yet, electric toothbrushes have been around for over 30 years. And from the day you start to use an electric toothbrush, your cleanliness improves by 7 times. But we are still so wedded to this.
That's serious.
It's serious. It's serious. You know?
So this is very, very effective.
It is extremely effective, you know? But in terms of the mindset, is how we navigate the mindset switch. But we all like technology.
Yeah.
And I always say, wow, so we are all using that famous brick phone. I'm not going to say any brands. Whereas we have the latest technology and nobody's looking at the latest technology. And, you know, there are definitely certain things. So, for example, in Ghana, we find that a lot of people overbrush. And actually, for us, it's not so much decay, but it's people putting too much pressure. So just to demonstrate, one of the things about, you know, an electric toothbrush is the fact that when you overbrush, it turns red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Indicates that
to
you're
indicate that
overbrush.
you are now overbrushing. So that's probably one of the 70 features that are really, really common. So again, it's about the education. It's about the fact that at Platinum, we stock all of these things. But we're not just selling it to you. We want you to buy it and then come and spend 15 minutes with us where we show you very, very quickly what the salient features are. So it's this thing about customer care and making sure that we are empowering our clients. So again, when we're talking about prevention, because we're still on the first floor, the business community. We do so much clenching due to stress. So we find that so many people are fracturing their actual teeth. They have work done and then they fracture it. They're not able to sleep that well. They get a lot of headaches. And yet, if we're looking at prevention, that needs to be looked at first.
Okay.
And there are so many simple ways. We can do anything from a Botox injection, which will release the clenching, to making what we call a guard, which improves your quality of sleep. It's going to improve how you are going to perform at work. You're going to become a nicer person because you had a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
So we have to really get into the depth of prevention on the first floor. And then the second floor is if something has been removed from the teeth, we need to restore.
Okay.
And it's only once we have finished the second floor that we can look at aesthetics, which is usually 3 things: aligning, brightening the smile, stroke whitening, and then really going for that perfection. But of course, a lot of our clients coming in
from the top.
They want to go to the top. Yes, and you're like, ooh, and they're like, yes, but the top. You know, I've got pus coming out. I've broken 6 teeth, but I want tooth whitening. I want it today.
How do you, on the other side, convince people to get to understand that there's a basic principle, and that is we have to start from somewhere before we get to that level? How do you do the convincing?
So, you know, you have to show them. And again, you know, we decided to harness technology. So one of the things that every client gets is a complimentary 3D scan of their mouth.
Okay.
So now they can, on the screen, rotate their mouth. They can see it from the inside. And when we show it to them, they are telling us, oh, no.
As for this one.
This one, no. I have to do this one. So it's really changed everything because now the client is rather treatment planning for us. So again, it's about knowledge and making it personal to that actual person. Then it's about having a practice ethos. And the practice ethos says that we do things in a certain order. And if that client really cannot abide by that, you have to realize in business that not every client is your client. So especially in medicine, if we do the wrong thing, first of all, you are never going to win.
Yeah.
In the long term, you are never going to win. You know, so it's about explaining and then very nicely saying, so we'd really like you to have a think about it. Again, we're really harnessing technology. So at that stage, we'll send them a lot of information for them to read about and watch. And then we'll probably ask them to come back for a virtual consult. So again, we're harnessing E, because we know that everybody is so busy.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to bring you back in just to say, okay, have you decided that I'm right? Even though right? And I think that's, again, coming back to business, that E is actually remarkable because it's another thing we say a lot at Platinum. You guys work too hard. I'm always telling my staff, you work too hard. We need to start working smart. And working smart means that you have a program and that we know that every client should be seeing a dentist every 6 months. 6 months' time, automatic, without us doing anything. A letter goes through saying, it's time for your checkup. If they don't respond, it goes through the system. Sends out another letter, And so it's harnessing all the, E processes to make your business efficient. Because it's only when you can capitalize on that efficiency that you can go for astronomical growth. Without getting the foundation right, without actually making sure that a lot of your systems and processes are automated, still with a human being, obviously, making sure and being accountable, you cannot grow. You cannot grow and maintain quality, or it becomes a lot harder.
Okay, let's talk about whitening and braces.
Okay.
Which one do people come for the most?
So I've always said that whitening is Ghana's #1 requested dental procedure. Everyone wants to have their teeth
There's a special
whitened.
reason why?
I find it really, really interesting because our teeth are actually quite white already. But I think that there is this mindset that your teeth are going to get 100% white, fridge white, and that doesn't happen. When people's teeth are like that, those are not their natural teeth. They've usually had procedures such as veneers, etc., put on.
Okay.
You don't get that white. It brightens, but not to that level. So we have, and the thing about whitening is that we also need to remember, and we're not really talking about dentistry, more business, but it's really considered illegal to whiten teeth under the age of 18.
Whoa.
So we need to be careful about that. So we get a lot on whitening, and then we get a lot on braces. And braces, again, in Ghana, we do fully accept that, if you do 100 cases of braces, probably about 35 of them needed for dental health reasons. If they don't have it, something worse will happen to their teeth.
Okay.
We then have to fully admit that now there's a lot of aesthetic work being done, which is great. There's absolutely no problem with that. But there still has to be a need. So you cannot see somebody with perfect teeth and then say, we're still going to do braces. But the reason why it's also so requested is because of the way it looks. So the braces look pretty good, but then they're getting more and more sophisticated. So now this is what the current braces look like.
Okay.
And this is a real game changer. And when we talk about a game changer, you can imagine that there are people in your profession who may have very crooked teeth and need them aligned, and they don't want to wear traditional metal braces.
Yeah.
Now they can wear this, which is discreet. It is removable. Nobody knows that they're actually having anything done. We don't see you often. We currently see our patients once every 10 to 12 weeks, and they're harnessing all of the benefits. So what's actually happened is that we have now reached another group. So all of the executives are now coming in, to have these ones. And we also have to admit that in terms of knowledge, there's a group of Ghanaians who missed the bus. So now this gives them an opportunity
to all come back again. Including myself. I'm enjoying the conversation, but unfortunately we have to be going. Our time is up.
Oh, wow.
But I've loved the conversation today and the education you've given us. If there's one thing you want to tell Ghanaians in terms of taking care of themselves, especially their teeth, what would that message be?
Really simple, just 2 minutes twice a day using a fluoride toothpaste.
That's simple.
Simple. So that's it. If we're talking about the business side, women, keep going for it. Believe in yourself. Have mentors. An Executive Women's Network is there to support and mentor the young ladies.
Great. Where's the office located, just in case someone
Okay,
wants
so we are located in Airport Hills off the Spintex Road.
Okay.
If you just put in Platinum Dental, it will come up on Google Maps. We do work with appointments only. We see up to 60 clients a day, and we don't want to keep you waiting. So call us, book an appointment so that we have a reserved slot where we can concentrate just on you.
Great. I am definitely going there too. She tells me that I can't have braces because I've got good teeth, but I still want to look good with those ones over there. So I'm still going to go there. But let's say a big thank you to you for making time and sharing all the knowledge with us. We appreciate you. And as a woman, what you're doing is incredible. The impact you're making in society. We love it, and we want you to continue.
Thank you so much.
Great.
For having me.
And that's Dr. Novishi Akutu, clinical lead consultant, orthodontist from Platinum Dental, spending time with us here on Women in Business. There's more conversations coming up right here on the show. This is Prime Morning. My name is KMJ. Please do stay.